Yep, looking just like Little Red Riding Hood. You're not going to be able to convince me that that is a thobe or some type of other garment because we already have the receipts with Dave Chappelle and the attire which many of these people are wearing has been consistent, like the Omar Epps, like the Ushers, and now like the Tyrese. And you see, he's sporting the red dress, the lowest color on the scale of vibration. That's why when you want to go out and usually have sex or do something sensual, you wear red. A red dress, red lipstick, red jacket, red sneaks, a red hat. You're drinking red wine, eating some red steak possibly. You're on Savage time. And so he's openly showing himself as Little Red Riding Hood. And those are not the wolves, but the sly fox, which are behind him, putting him up to that. And you'll notice that all of the men that are on stage or panel with him, they're all properly dressed like men. They're not just properly dressed, they're properly dressed like men. Gotta think about that. He's improperly dressed, and he's improperly dressed as a man. And why would he be the only representation up there on stage like that? And they've been put on stage to perform and to look just like that. Just like the Ushers, the Tyrese, of course, we have here, the Omar Epps, the billionaire comedian. But so what happened was you have Dave Chappelle telling Oprah about the nefarious affairs that want men in dresses. Then you see a long range of men wearing these dresses. Even after these men say, I'm not going to wear a dress, then they still find them in a dress. So we're not going to sit up here and say this is conspiracy theory anymore. This is clearly a pattern. But right back to the color purple, because the color purple also engages in these type of gender wars and these type of political and public castrations of men. Every person, every man in the color purple, the darker they get, the more disgusting in their behavior, the more beastly they become. And the director and the executive producers, they only show you the worst of the community. They refuse to show you the conditions which created these type of people in this community. They refuse to show you the hand which has guided and controlled and manipulated and has worked these type of maladaptive characteristics into this community of people. That's what the movie fails to show you. So now it makes you only and solely look at the condition of these people, and you're going to say, "Oh, these are disgusting. These are degraded degenerates." Yes, they are, no doubt about it. But you fail to acknowledge, you fail to understand, you fail to bear witness to the actual conditions which are in control, which are in direct control of these people. So whatever you say about the condition of these people, you're going to have to say 10 times that about the condition of the system which has created the people, which the movie does a very good job at hiding and disguising. So as a young man watching this, I was very bedazzled. I was puzzled by this. I said, what is this? Like, what the freak? What are they doing? Why are they doing this? And no one has any answers. Huh? Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy? No one has answers. No one has a real reply as to what is going on in the color purple, family. Because no one has studied the topic. Ain't that crazy? They watching the movie, but ain't studied the topic. They watching. Look at the so-called president, the so-called the Republican girl, Nikki Haley. I don't know her name. I don't care. Supposed to be a minority whatever. Running for president of America, and then wants to exclude the conversation or the topic of slavery, which is actually a prisoner of war disposition, but we'll say slavery for convenience of conversation. She wants to ignore the topic of slavery, which was a fundamental catalyst for the economic prowess of America. You want to ignore that and not even mention it in the conversation, and then dare suggest that the Civil War began at the back of what? So that the government could run better? This is the type of revisionist historical perspectives that these people bring forward. Women like her, the Vivek Ramaswamy, people of their ilk. Sadly enough, these lies they put forward can go forward. The lies they say can go forward because the American citizenry can barely read. And they can barely reason. And they're filled with a lot of racial resentment and animosity by the powers that should not be. So they're locked in a low vibration. At a low vibration, at a plantation vibration, if you will. That's Americans. Many of them, they have the vibration of the decadence of a plantation. And this is what's going on out here. So you have this type of thing going on, you know. And people can't reason out. I'm a young person. They beat me over their head mentally. That's a mental affliction. When I watched The Color Purple, I did not have enough mental ammunition. I didn't have enough mental power, mental prowess, intellect, cognition, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, wherewithal, experience. I didn't have enough to combat the bullshit that was pouring and spitting at me. I ain't have enough. Ain't that crazy? That's how you get locked into a mental box and don't even know what box you're in. It's ignorance, the box of ignorance. And so they spit a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of imagery at you, and you don't even know what it represents. You don't know what it means. It's one of the greatest bewitching movies I've ever seen. I despise it. I rebuke it. I refute it. No child should be watching this movie. It's going to mentally scar them. They need an educator around to put this into proper context if you are going to even watch it. I strongly suggest you watch movies like Sankofa on Netflix. I strongly suggest you watch movies like Sankofa and to stay away from movies like The Roots and movies like, not even The Roots, I'm going to say The Roots, but certainly movies like The Color Purple. I would even advise you watch Django Unchained before you watch The Color Purple. You have to understand this. The producers and directors do a horrible job at this, showing you the conditions of the people without proper explanation. It's like showing me flies on eyes on Ethiopian children and not showing the context as to what is going on. What is going on here? I'm just supposed to look at the decadence and not ignore the whole entire context. Okay, got it. No, I don't get it. Now let's get to it. Now this is what it is. This is what 95 to 99% of the people will not understand. I'll say it in one word: reconstruction. I'll say it again: reconstruction. One more time: reconstruction. The Color Purple is taking place during the time period of Reconstruction. What's the significance of that there, Bar? The significance of that is this: out of all the wonderful things out of all the wonderful things that was constructed, theorized, planned out, worked out, strategized, built during the 1860 to 1965 time period. It is the most outrageous baller time period for Black Americans. And you want to show me, out of all the baller stuff that they did during that time period, you want to show me and highlight and glorify and glamorize and honor and give trophies and awards to, and then somehow sell out to the people. The people then bought this thing hook, line, and sinker. It set historical selling records. And you want to show me this at these people's lowest state without proper explanation. It's like throwing the rock at someone's head and then hiding the hand that did it. That's what The Color Purple is. It is an indictment upon the Black community because it shows decadence without explanation. It's like showing, it's like showing the Dark Ages of Europe without explaining how the Roman Empire fell and how the Roman Empire was a result or a causational factor to the decadence which took place during the feudal system during the Dark Ages of Europe. Life, I put it up there with The Clockwork Orange. I meant to do a review on They Clone Tyrone and how that movie compares to The Clockwork Orange because it is mentioned in that movie. If you want to know the key component to They Clone Tyrone, you're going to have some type of knowledge of the movie Clockwork Orange. Okay? Jamie Foxx mentions this movie in They Clone Tyrone. But my point here is this. I'm saying that The Color Purple was just as disturbing. I cannot advise anyone to watch this movie without parental guidance, without having some type of historical understanding as to what happened in that time period. And as I said before, for them to highlight those conditions of all the things that could have been highlighted, it is almost insane to me. But that's just me. And that's my opinion. And that's why I pour juice over here.